Alright everybody, welcome back to another Arena Football Nation YouTube video. And in today's video, we're going to get right into it. We're going to cover some of the preseason action that happened this past weekend. We had action in the NAL, the AIF, and the GLAF. So good assortment of games. Got some preseason action in to see what the teams are looking like, the production values of their streams, and just what kind of setup they have for their fields. A lot of interesting things to check out, so let's go ahead and get back into it. We are going to go just straight into a quick overview of the game, what the score was, and my thoughts. We're going to go with NAL first. So in our first game, we're going to cover the Northern Colorado Nightmare came to visit the Colorado Spartans, and this was a pretty interesting stream to watch because not only was it the first game of the Colorado Spartans as a team on the field, but we just wanted to see what they're going to look like. You know, you have a new arena. You have the first setup for their streams for the games, and we didn't know much about them except for some of the signings they had. You know, you have the coaches that are leading the team, so it was pretty exciting to watch this one. And it was very interesting because I think Northern Colorado came in and they had a little chip on their shoulder. They really wanted to prove that they deserved to be on that field and were a good challenger for the Spartans. I was really impressed with some of the play they had, especially the receivers and running backs. I think they did a really great job in that first half. It was looking like a pretty tight game. They're keeping the Spartans at bay and in their own right had a really solid offense. So just right out the gates, props to Northern Colorado Nightmare. I think they're a semi-pro outdoor team, so they really did a good job preparing for this game. Going to the halftime, the score was actually 32 Spartans to the Nightmares 12. So 32-12, that's pretty good. That's a lot closer than most of these preseason games that you see when it comes to arena or indoor football when they play, an amateur or a semi-pro outdoor team, whatever it may be, right? You don't see a lot of inter-league games between arena or indoor football league teams, but there will be one here at the end of the video. We'll announce that there is going to happen, which is interesting. But for this one alone, it was a really solid game overall. I thought Colorado, for the most part, did a pretty decent job. The announcers were, they did a good job of covering the game. The play was pretty solid. This is probably the most competitive. You wouldn't tell by the final score, but going into halftime, this is probably the most competitive game. That's all. That showed off a lot of great football action. The only thing that I can complain about is the nets. They didn't have actual arena nets, the rebound nets. So they just had a fish net lined all the way around the whole end zone is what it looked like. So don't know what's up with that. Maybe they don't have their actual net in yet, the rebound net for the arena. But either way, that was weird. But other than that, it was a final score of 70-12. So Spartans did show off a bit more of that muscle. They did end up having a little fire in that offense, and they powered it up, and they got a big 70 burger on the Nightmare. Overall, I think the Spartans are going to be a lot better off than we thought they would be. They seem to have good things going there offensively, and I mean, honestly, give some credit to that Nightmare. So the defense didn't look too bad either. All right, just going to keep it in the NAL. We're going to look at the next game, which was the Minneapolis Warriors traveling to the Sioux City Bandits. This game did have nets. They look like the typical, that iron bar arena net. So that was there, and the broadcast was solid. I think they had the multiple camera angles. They had the announcers doing a great job. The field I think was like a charcoal gray with green end zones, so that was kind of weird. I didn't know what was up with that. Maybe they just haven't had time to change it over to their colors because the Sioux City Bandits colors are red and black. But yeah, the uniforms look solid. They had the NAL patch there on the front. And you had the very iconic all black helmets with the Bandit logo. So in this game, the Minneapolis Warriors, it was a lot closer of a game than I thought it would be, but it was another game that went pretty decent. It was a little back and forth action, but the Sioux City Bandits did pull away 49-14 being the final score. This game, I think, was the overall best game of the weekend when it comes to these preseason games. And I think that Sioux City, they look pretty solid. I think they're going to be just fine going into this season. They seem to have all things, firing all cylinders type of deal. They're a seasoned veteran franchise when it comes to arena indoor football. So they look like they're going to be solid, and everything looks good. I like these preseason games. You just give the teams a chance to get out there and let loose. This doesn't count for anything. It's a preseason game. It's like a glorified scrimmage. So Sioux City looked pretty good. Pretty excited to see what they have going into this season. Next up, in the final NAL preseason game we had this past weekend was the Idaho Horsemen playing the Desert Sentinels, I believe. And this one was kind of weird because I don't know if Idaho is still making some improvements to their production value with their stream, or maybe this is the setup they're going with, but they only had one camera angle, and it was just, the one just covering the whole broad side of the field. There was no on-field shots. There was no other shots around the arena. So that was kind of weird. That kind of is amateur hour at this point. I feel like we should have some on-field camera angles at this point with the NAL. Make this a league-wide thing. Just have some more production value going into it. And yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer. Broadcast overall was okay, and the play was overall decent. I mean, there was nothing to scoff at. There was nothing to nitpick really. It was just another standard preseason game. Nothing really stood out. I mean, the final score ended up being 57-14. So the Idaho Horsemen did eventually pull away and dominate that game. But yeah, just the Nets. Here we go with the Nets again. They were the typical dimensions and size of the your standard bar arena rebound nets, but these were like just a really thin, like, I don't know what you'd call it, pipe or bar, a single bar that would make out the whole square rectangle of each of the nets, and then you had the middle where the ball needs to go through. I don't know, they weren't the stereotypical bar design, which I think is more rugged, more, more badass at the end of the day that you saw with some other teams. This kind of looks like what the Sharks had this previous year, and I really didn't like it. I just think it looks amateur hour, like maybe it's like a semi-pro team would have that or something. I don't know. It's definitely a cheaper option. I can see the point of it. But yeah, that's what I saw with that. But yeah, just gotta do a better job with the camera angles. I feel like that's just, when you don't have any changes or any transitions, it just becomes boring, and yeah, it's just not fun. So we have 2 more games on the docket before we finish this video. Just some other mentions. You have the West Michigan Ironmen versus the Tri-State Bucks. And this game was pretty much a joke. It was 82-6 was the final score. It was just a, hey, look how awesome we are for the West Michigan Ironmen. Just a joke, man. When are we going to stop these shenanigans, West Michigan Ironmen, and join a real league? I mean, you pretty much just essentially created the Great Lakes Arena Football, GLAF. It's their league, and they're just going to run through it, it feels like. It's just really bad. Even for arena and indoor football, if you win 82-6, that's a joke. I think that somebody said one of the excuses was the travel costs are too expensive. Which, okay, I can get that. I understand that, but come on now, man. It's time to graduate, play with the big boys. Let's see what you're really made of. You can just beat up these smaller amateur semi-pro teams. Essentially, it was what it feels like all day. But as a fan, I would be bored out of my mind. I would hate it, and I just don't. Which is crazy because it actually had really solid fan attendance. I was watching some of the stream, and I think overall the quality of their arena, even their broadcast setup, everything was solid. Overall. I think they did a great job, and the fans come out and supported. It was a very good showing by the fans. But maybe that's just what they want in Michigan. Maybe they just want to see a team beat everybody 80, 90, 100 points every game. That's all they care about. I don't know. I've been wanting West Michigan, the Ironmen, to come join either the NAL, IFL, AIF, something. I've been excited to see them graduate and go join a bigger league, but yeah, it doesn't look like it's anytime soon. They seem to be settling in pretty well with that GLAF league and running it, so oh well. It is what it is. Lastly, we have the Amarillo Venom versus the Oklahoma Grove Hawks. And this was a really weird one because I was really excited to see the Amarillo Venom back. I remember seeing them before they folded. They were a pretty solid franchise and they did really well. You know, they had a lot of success. Really good production value and quality with their arena. Fans, they have solid fan base. And it was really weird because I went to go watch a stream and I couldn't watch it. I mean, it was like constantly glitching. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know if they didn't have enough internet or what. I tried on my phone. I tried on my TV. I tried on my laptop. Multiple things. My computer. None of them, the stream would work. So I really could not see exactly what happened. I couldn't watch the game. But the final score I did catch ended up being 82-26. So, hey, who knows how bad Oklahoma is? Who knows how good Amarillo is at the end of the day? That's just another blowout score. Not as bad as 82-6. You got 20 more points there. But still kind of a blowout win. Hopefully Amarillo is going to be a solid team. I would really like to see them get revitalized, come back, and move up to either the IFL, NAL, something. Because I think them and the Columbus Lions and a couple of teams, they should just move up. They don't need to be down the AIF. They're really solid franchises, well coached and solid arenas. There's no reason for them to be down there. They need to come up to the bigger leagues. But yeah, that's that'll do it for these preseason games. It's here, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it's here. Arena and indoor football is going to be starting next weekend, this upcoming weekend, by the time I upload this video. I hope you're as excited as I am. It's been a long time coming. What a hectic offseason it has been. And I am just chomping at the bit, getting ready to watch some of these games because I'm so excited. You have all these leagues starting up, ready to go. You have the AIF revitalizing, you got some teams coming back. I think the IFL and NAL are going to be very competitive this year. The parity is going to be there. So, really excited to get it going. I want to try to do as much coverage as possible. Kind of like this video. And, yeah. Let's take a quick look. Actually, before the end of the video, let's take a quick look at the upcoming games. Just so we can have a look at that. Here you have the NAL. Here's the 3 games that went final, as you can see. So, this Friday, March 15th at 7:10 Central Time, it looks like, at the Tyson Event Center, you will have the Oklahoma Flying Aces versus the Sioux City Bandits. So, Sioux City, you just watched them. We just watched them get ready with their preseason game. I think they're going to be solid. They got a good franchise there, some good players. This will be their first true home game for the league, and I'm excited to see how they're going to do in this game. Oklahoma, we don't have much information on Oklahoma still. They didn't play a preseason game. We've seen the signings and what they got going on roster-wise, but we have not seen them play, so that's another thing I'm excited to see. What kind of team is Oklahoma? What will they bring to the table? How competitive will they be? So really interesting game there. Great, solid start to the NAL this season, the 2024 season. Get a lot of questions answered right from the get-go there. Then also on Friday at the Ford, Idaho Center, this is the game I am most excited to see. You have the Idaho Horsemen taking on the Carolina Cobras. Cobras obviously coming off of the loss in the championship against the Jacksonville Sharks this previous year. Looking to start off where they left off, hot and ready to get dominating this league, I'm sure. They're going to be the big dogs besides the Beef. And Idaho did their own thing up in the Pacific Northwest. So they are no team to scoff at, as you know. So it should be a really solid game. Let's see what Idaho has to offer. Getting their first home game in the NAL. And will Carolina be jet lagged? That's a pretty crazy travel right there. That's cross-country travel. So will Idaho take advantage of that, or will Carolina just, start off hot, want to continue their dominance, and start the season off with a dub? Should be two great games either way. Then Sunday for the NAL, we actually have a preseason game as the Omaha Beef are going to take on the Tri-City Tridents. Don't know much about Tri-City Tridents. They're just another team that is a semi-pro or maybe an outdoor team, whatever it may be. But they're not in the NAL, so this is a preseason game. And this should be, a really good game because Omaha is going to be showing off that new field, that bright orange field we are so excited to see in a game action. And that's going to be at Liberty First Credit. And it will be a 3 o'clock start. So those are the 3 games you have coming up this weekend for the NAL. Pretty excited to watch those. Next up, you have the Indoor Football League. We have Week 1, start of the IFL this Saturday, March 16th, with an 8:05 p.m. Central Time start. The Arizona Rattlers are taking on the Northern Arizona Wranglers at the Findlay Toyota Center. As we all know, Northern Arizona was just one of those teams that went from really horrible start to ended up winning the league. They have become a very solid franchise in the IFL. Really good opponent. Close to the Arizona Rattlers. This should be a great game. Real big, Western battle. Duel in the desert type of deal. How will Arizona start the season? They continue where they left off, being just another solid franchise. A little bit of a turnover, but we'll see how they look. And it should be a solid game. A real good idea to look at how the West is going to form. Next up, you have Sunday, March 17th at 3:05 Central Time. The Massachusetts Pirates are going to travel to the Green Bay Blizzard at the Rush Center. This one should be another solid, game. You got an East Conference game here. Massachusetts is, one of the more solid franchises in the league. And Green Bay is going to look to be, coming back strong. So, 2 really good games for the IFL. This is the only 2 we're going to get. It's going to be a soft start. Week 2 should have way more, as you can see. So, it's going to be interesting to see where these teams are going to start off, what kind of rosters they have accumulated, and should be some great football, guys. Really excited for that. And then lastly, you have in the AIF, there's actually, you can see here's the Amarillo game on the schedule. You have a game with the return of the Cedar Rapids, the River Kings. They are back and they're playing Missouri. So don't have the team name, but evidently somebody from Missouri is going to come and play Cedar Rapids on Saturday, March 16th at 7 p.m. in the arena. So chance to see how Cedar Rapids look. They are a franchise that used to play in the Indoor Football League, and they folded due to financial issues, but they are back with new ownership, so really excited to see them back. I love to see the old franchises back to play, and we'll see what Cedar Rapids is made of with this preseason game. Next up, you have Oklahoma, and I think it's a tribe. They are playing Corpus Christi Triton. So Corpus Christi, they that town's always, or city's always been one to have an arena or indoor football team come and go. Nothing's ever been solidified. It's been just rough really getting a franchise to stay or stabilize. So here we go again with the Corpus Christi Tritons. They seem to be kicking it off pretty well on social media. I like their uniforms. I like the outreach they have. They're being very exciting on those platforms. So I think that we can expect good things from them. And this will be the first we'll see them in action as well. So a preseason game for them. This will not count for the AIF. And that is against Oklahoma Tribes. It looks like the Oklahoma Tribe. So good to see. It'll be good to see where they are. And lastly, Sunday, March 17th at 7 p.m. the first official AIF game as the Amarillo Venom take on the Columbus Lions. So here we go. Haven't seen Columbus play. They did not have a preseason game, but they are going to be here taking on the Emerald Venom. Venom did have a preseason game, 182-26, but couldn't really tell much from that stream. But if anybody puts that many points up, they must be somewhat decent, right? Really excited for Emerald Venom. Like I said before, you know, one of the older franchises, been around a minute, coming back. Really excited to see that. So this should be a heavyweight bout. I would like to think that these will be two of the better teams that will be at the top of the table at the end of the season. Columbus, obviously winning the league they were in this previous year. They are usually a pretty solid franchise. So it should be a really great game. Be sure to check this one out. If nothing else, this is two franchises that, who knows, they might be coming up to the NAL or the IFL one day. I could see that easily. But alright everybody, that is a preview of this upcoming weekend. No AFL, they are not starting this month. We still have time before they start. I believe it's next month. So those are your upcoming games. What games are you excited to see? Who are you looking forward to seeing? What fan are you of? Let me know in the comments. What team are you repping? Are any of you season ticket holders? Do you have any of these upcoming home games you're going to attend? Let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate you checking out the video. Like I said, we'll have more of this going forward. I'll try to do some previews, reviews of upcoming games, and we'll take a look at the results. Alright everybody, we have more videos on the way. Sorry about the long break. Life hit me. I had to take a break and take care of some things, but we're back in the saddle, ready to put out more content about arena and indoor football, and I appreciate you checking out the video. Alright everybody, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one. Really quickly, I forgot to mention, also, I mentioned at the beginning of the video there was going to be an interleague game, and it looks like the Colorado Spartans from the NAL are going to be taking on the Cedar Rapids River Kings on Saturday, March 23rd at 7 p.m. So that's pretty interesting. You don't see that very often, especially the bigger leagues when it comes to arena and indoor football. Really going to keep an eye out on that game and see how that goes. Should be a big game for fans of each league. Alright, everybody, just wanted to quickly add that in editing as I completely forgot about it. See you again later in the next one. Bye.